Hello and welcome to Bible FPL. 26, 27 seasons coming round. I've got a new kind of series idea for the season, along with the usual kind of Bible FPL content. So yeah, I'll explain how the idea is going to work. I'm calling the series Set and Protect as opposed to Set and Forget. I think I talked to some of you about this at the end of the last season about how fantasy football can just cause a lot of stress, particularly when it comes to making transfers and then, transfers going wrong and the pain of subbing out a player that does well and scores lots of points, or the pain of changing your captain, or all these little things. I was thinking, I would love to play a season where I'm still invested, I'm still competitive, but I can basically just get the most out of the joy side of FPL and minimize the pain side of FPL. And that's why we're calling it set and protect as opposed to set and forget, because I think protect's more of an active thing. Forget is more of a passive sort of thing. And I'm not going to play the season away where I make a team and I just leave it. And if like my Haaland gets injured, I'm just like, well, such is life. I'll just have to get the player off the bench. I'm going to be active with it where if players get injured and stuff, I can make some transfers. I can still kind of deal with injured players, but I'm basically going to avoid taking out players who are fit and still playing to avoid the pain of removing them and then scoring a massive haul the week I take them out. So I'm going to try and pick players that are going to serve me well for a season. While also managing it actively and still playing my chips. And you'll see probably from the title that I'm going to play my bench boost in game week one, basically a free hit bench boost, and then I can wildcard into game week two with my kind of set and protect team. Any suggestions, Ollie, for a new name other than set and protect, do let me know. But I think it works quite well because I'm protecting the players I've got, but I'm also going to manage the team and deal with players that are injured to bring in new players and protect the team in a way where it's actually still functioning and not just limping by. That's the logic. Um, and I'll still sort of do some short Bible passages where I feel led to, or just talk generally about sort of mental health and FPL and I'll bring faith type things into it. I mean, some of you guys that on social media will have noticed Joe Weller recently gave his life to Jesus. One of the big YouTubers that was had absolutely no interest in faith whatsoever, has found that Jesus is real, that that God is true, that He's made the world, that He died for him, that He loves him, and hopefully even those sort of stories have opened some of your kind of minds and hearts up to okay, maybe God is real after all. Like if someone like him that just didn't have any care in the world about God has found God and he's changed his whole life, then maybe there is some mileage to this, and maybe some of the stuff I share you can take a little more seriously, and hopefully it can help change your lives as well. That's the heart of the series. Without waffling further about how the series is going to work, we'll come on in future kind of episodes in terms of what the set and forget team is going to definitely look like from game week two. But I'll just give you an insight as to sort of players I'm going to be looking at towards planning that team. And again, for you guys, if you want to have some players that you can kind of bank on for a season and save you having to make too many transfers to avoid kind of that FPL pain I referred to, these are the sort of players I'm looking at. So if I'm just kind of flicking through, like in goal, like Raya is right up there for me in terms of Arsenal, the best defence in the league by far. Why not just play him for the season, play him every single game week, and come into the season, I'm sure he's going to have racked up a good amount of points for you. Like last season, he was a top scoring keeper. I would expect that to be the same again this season. Um, if you wanted to go someone cheaper, you could set and forget like a 4.5 or something. The problem is, I just don't really back the 4.5 to keep many cleaners. I think Ruffs for Sunderland, Pickford for Everton. These are players that are probably going to tick over, across the season. So if there's a keeper you really fancy and you're like, I like that keeper for the season, then they're the sort of one you can go for. But for me, I just think Raya is someone I'm not going to regret halfway through a season because I know how good Arsenal are defensively. So Raya, is the sort of one I'm looking at the moment. At the back, I mean, a lot of these premiums you can look at, I think, quite strongly, like a Gabriel. By the way, on Gabriel, there are people thinking of going out Gabriel because they're like, oh, 8 million's a lot for a defender. I've been following FPL Golden Goal channel if you've seen him, and he's got the sort of top projected points for all of the players in the game. And Gabriel was like, I think the third highest projected scoring player in the whole game for 8 million. So when you look at you look at the price in isolation, 8 million, you're like, so Haaland's the highest projected, Fernandez is the second highest, no surprise there, Gabriel, but then it's the third highest. But you think 8 million is a lot cheaper than 12 mil for Fernandez and 15.5 mil for Haaland, and he's a lot cheaper than some of those other premiums, like a Semenyo or a Palmer or a Saka. And you think he's expected to score the third most amount of points across the whole season. 8 mil is actually a bargain when you put it that way. So I think Gabriel is one I'm strongly looking at as a set and protect kind of player. Um, Gay, if he's nailed in that City team, which I expect him to be, is another one you could look at. I think Virgil for Liverpool is just a classic. He's going to play all season for Liverpool, goal threat, defcon. Tarkowski's another one. He's going to play all season for Everton, goal threat, defcon. Lacroix, I'm strongly looking at for Chelsea. He's going to play all season. I'd have thought for them with just the Premier League to focus on. Now they've lost Chalobah. He's going to be their main centre back. I'd have thought great for defcon as we know last season. He's got some goal threat too. He's another kind of set and forget or set and protect type player you can have in your team. Mukiele for Sunderland's another decent shout. I think that's quite key in that Sunderland team and is very attacking. Munoz for Palace, we know what he can do. We know he's great with his fitness, so he should be fine for the season. These are the sort of players you can look at. Even like a Williams, if you fancy Forest under Glasner as a wing back, could be a good shout. If Chow's nailed for Newcastle, but you want players going in where you're just like they are going to do me a job for the season. There's just no world I see them ever being dropped. Which is why, the likes of, like I said, Virgil van Dijk are just absolutely perfect for this strategy because they're just not going to get dropped all season. You know it. And I'm sure there's some cheaper options you can look at. Like, I suppose James Hill isn't much cheaper. I think this is an order of points from last season, actually. So if I do it in terms of price, like there are some cheaper players you could look at. Like I think for 4.5 you can get a few gems that you can set and forget, so to speak. Like Coyote for Brentford, I really like 4.5. There's quite a few cheeky 4.5s. Like if Konza goes to Arsenal, that's a tricky one because when Saliba's back, he might not play every game. But someone like a Coyote, like I said, for Brentford, I think is so nailed. And is just, he's key for them. He's quite exciting to watch as well. Like Kadioglu for Brighton's a pretty decent one at 4.5. But again, with these players, you want to pick a player where you're just like, I just don't have any doubt around them. If you have any sort of even slight niggling doubts and you want to play the strategy, you don't go near them. And I think if, obviously players that are absolutely nailed on and you're confident with, sometimes they're going to come at a premium. But that's where you could go for a big at the back strategy, I think, with this idea to make it work. Like if we're looking at midfielders, obviously Bruno Fernandes is perfect. He is 12 million though. Can you fit all of him, Haaland, and Gabriel into a team? That's a question I'm asking myself. Also, with a set and protect idea, you're probably just going to I'm just going to captain the same player every week and have the same dice every week. So am I going to want, if I'm say captaining Haaland every week, am I going to want a 12 million Fernandes in the team I'm never going to captain, other than the vice being on him, which occasionally might come in handy? These are sort of things you got to think about with the strat. So I may be avoiding Fernandez, but we'll find out. If I can get him in, I'd love to have him in. He's a brilliant player for this sort of protect strategy. Gibbs White is a perfect player for this strategy. It's a shame he's as much as 8 million, but if he stays at Forest, he's just going to be key for them all year round. Rice isn't a bad one, but maybe now they've got like the likes of Bruno Guimaraes in there, and they've got multiple competitions. Maybe he gets the odd rest. I think Szoboszlai for Liverpool is just another one. So I'll tell you right now, he's pretty nailed in my set and protect team come game week 2. Um, he's one that I'm really strongly looking at. I think Sarr, if he stays at Palace, is a great shout. But yeah, can be a bit injury prone. That's the other sort of thing you ought to take into account. But with the protect idea, if you have an injury prone player, you can just sub them out for a similar price player and then just bring them back when they're back fit. Anderson at City, I think, is another great one you could have there, just ticking over with the DEFCON all year. It's these sort of players that I'm looking at. And Jai, if he stays at Everton, on pens and is just going to be key for them all year. Great shout. Same with Garner when he's back fit, good for the DEFCON, going to tick over all year. I mean, Gravenberch for Liverpool isn't the worst shout, but I think Szoboszlai is a little more exciting. Um, and yeah, like Enzo Lefebvre, Sunderland, another great shout on pens, 6 million. He's going to do the job for you. Pascal Gross on pens for Brighton. He's probably going to play for us all season. Even the likes of Caicedo, I really like at Chelsea. He's just going to tick over with the DEFCON. He's got a bit of attacking return in him, as we looked at last season, which he produced for Liverpool. Sorry, for Chelsea, particularly earlier in the season. He had a bit of that in the locker. And then yeah, I think is it Sangare is one that's coming in. Who I think it's for Brentford, isn't it? Like apparently he's just brilliant for DEFCON. He could be the sort of set and protector that you just literally leave all season. There he is, and enjoy him with the points you get. So again, there's a lot of midfielders, and as you can see, there's a lot of I think budgetty midfielders that can help you to put a team together. I'll quickly give you some forward suggestions. Haaland, I think obviously if you want to set him to get captain, it's probably got to be Haaland or Bruno Fernandes, and you may have to make your choice between them. I think Thiago's the other one I'm strongly looking at. Just, we saw what he did for Brentford last year. He's going to keep them all season on penalties. Like, I think he's the sort of lad I want in my set and protect team. I think João Pedro's worth a look for sure. Like he's priced really well. He's so highly owned for that reason. He's the sort of player you could probably have in that team. I mean, if Chelsea sign some more strikers, maybe there's a bit of rotation, but with no Champions League, I think he's up there. Calvert-Lewin, I love as a 6 mil set and protect lad. The only issue is injury proneness, but there's a lot of 6 mil forwards. So if he does get injured, I guess you can always ship him onto one of the others, like a Solanke, like a Brian Brobby. I think Brobby could be good this season, to be honest. He's looked good of form lately. Um, yeah, with Europe, maybe Isidore gets a few more minutes, but I think he's a good shout. But I think Calvert's well up there if you don't mind, making a sub on him at some point in the season if he was to get injured. But yeah, Thiago's right up there for me. And then Haaland obviously is set and forget captain, set and protect captain does the job. In terms of bench boost, then, so the idea would be I'll kind of give you more insight as to the team I land on for the game week two onwards, kind of set and protect. But for game week one, like I said, I think because if you do almost like a free hit bench boost, you're not like, oh, I'm transferring out my old players and they could smash it this week because it's game week one. Like you haven't actually locked in a team yet. So you're basically just putting in a free hit team with the bench boost, and then you can go into game week two with your set and protect team without having to chop and change too much because you've already played your kind of yeah, your bench boost like free hit if you like. The free hit we'll have to think about. Like maybe the free hit comes in handy if there's like a double game week. This is the sort of thing I need to sort of think about as the season goes on, and maybe you guys can journey with me towards how I manage this season in a way that minimises the stress and maximises the joy. But the bench boost team is currently looking like this for game week one. Raya in goal, I think home for Cov. I want double Arsenal defence. Him and Mosquera, they're right in there. Nico Williams looks like a great fixture home to Leeds for Forest. O'Reilly. Um, I think with O'Reilly, as long as we're looking like he has a good chance of starting, I just want a bit more City coverage, and he kind of gives a bit more attacking coverage as well against that Bournemouth team. So I quite like the idea of O'Reilly if we think he's going to start. Then we got Cunha and Burma in the middle. So save the money on Fernandes and spread the funds elsewhere for the bench boost. I just think you've got two great attackers for United there. And in place of Bruno Fernandes, you're not thinking of captain because I'm going to have Haaland captain. And Jai, I like at home to Palace. I just think, on pens, why not have a punt on him? Gibbs White, home to Leeds, great fixture on pens. Jesus has been in great pre-season form, good fixture as well. So I quite like the look of him at home to Leeds. Robbie, like I said, has been looking good. I think away to it's just a good fixture for him. It's a good price as well. And then there's the Haaland captaincy. So like I said, it's kind of like I've got Triple United 'cause I've got Maguire also on the bench against his former club. And you can see Ruffs away to Ipswich, which is a good fixture. Caicedo against Firm should be hopefully a good Defcon one. And then Jop home Sunderland. Like if Ipswich do the job at home Sunderland, at least I've kind of got a bit of coverage there. Or I could see that going either way, but I'm obviously more in favour of Sunderland. So I've got a little bit of coverage there for both teams. I don't mind sometimes playing that like even out strategy. We think surely someone's going to return here. And even then, like, let's say Sunderland win 1-0, Refs gets a clean sheet. Let's say Brobby scores the goal and Diop comes away with Defcon if he's looking like he's going to be starting in that team from the start of the season. That's still a 4 pointer if you Diop off your bench for a 4 mil player. You don't argue that on bench boost. That's the sort of team I'm currently looking at. I actually really like it. If I'm confident enough all these players are going to play, I think it will do a good job for us to start the season with. And then you can kind of if you want to like or subscribe and follow how the Set and Protect team is looking from game week two. Yeah, love to have you on board for the season. Like I say, I like to share some deeper meaning with these videos alongside the fancy stuff and hopefully an idea here that can help with the mental health side of things with FPL. So yeah, thanks so much for watching if you made it this far. Really appreciate you. Yeah, like I said, do like and subscribe if you want to tune in for more vids. And yeah, I guess there's not much more to say. I'll stop waffling. But yeah, I hope you enjoy the last sort of remaining few weeks before the FPL sweat kicks off. Yeah, I look forward to catching you on the next one, whenever I next upload. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your summers before you get grinding with the FPL.